Could you do a video on climate change refugees? Sure. A climate change refugee is someone who is forced to relocate due to factors such as rising sea levels or extreme droughts. Climate change. Now, this is not a new concept. Climate change refugees have existed for a very long time. The most notable example that I could find was the Bronze Age collapse, which occurred around 1200 to 1150 BC. Now, we don't exactly know how the Bronze Age collapse happened, but it is believed that extreme droughts combined with earthquakes and volcanic eruptions led to the collapse of trade routes and eventual empires during this time. Another example that's more recent is the Dust Bowl of the 1930s, where extreme drought and heavy winds combined with people farming too much land and not preserving the drought-resistant grass that had longer roots resulted in so much dust being kicked up that it forced 2.5 million people to relocate to other states. Right now, there are millions of people who are dealing with the effects of climate change every single year. According to the UNHCR, in 2022, 30 million people were displaced by the effects of climate change, and this is most notable in places such as Tuvalu, Bangladesh, as well as in Louisiana. Tuvalu is an island nation of about 9,000 people with a land area of about 10 square miles. Due to rising sea levels, there have been growing concerns that the nation will eventually go underwater within the next century. Since the year 1880, sea levels have risen about 8 to 10 inches. And so in response to this, Tuvalu has done several different things. They started a visa program with Australia where every single year, 280 residents will be able to migrate to Australia. At the same time, they've also done things like 3D scanning their islands in case they eventually go underwater in order to protect their cultural history. In Bangladesh, about 80% of the country's land is located in a floodplain. Every single year during the monsoon season, at least 20% of that land will be flooded, and on some years that percentage can rise to up to 70 to 80%, and this affects as many as 26 million people in a country with a population of 177 million people. In the US, multiple states are dealing with the effects of climate change. However, the most notable example is the state of Louisiana. In the past 100 years, since the 1930s, Louisiana has lost about 2,000 square miles of land, the equivalent of the size of the state of Delaware. And this is for multiple reasons, one of them being the leveeing of the Mississippi River, because the Mississippi River, for several decades now, has been trying to change course, as rivers do. However, this would render certain cities like Baton Rouge and New Orleans effectively irrelevant because a great deal of revenue in Louisiana comes from shipping from the Mississippi River. For that reason, engineers have been leveeing the river. However, this causes the loss of land over time. Natural disasters have been a big part of climate displacement as well. For instance, it's believed that Hurricane Katrina displaced as many as 1.5 million people, and that's just one natural disaster. Flooding and hurricanes has also made it much more difficult to insure people's houses, especially if they're closer to the ocean. For that reason, it's believed that by the end of this century, rising sea levels will result in about 13 million Americans being affected by climate change. Again, climate displacement, not a new thing. This has been around for a long time, since the dawn of human history. But the effects of climate change are going to be felt by more people naturally as the population of the Earth grows. For that reason, essentially, it is something to pay more attention to, especially as energy consumption has been rising so much in just a short period of time. This is why systemic change needs to be done to address the issues of climate change, because it will result in more people being displaced, which causes more instability, which will cause even worse results down the line.